day, good day. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Informal War Zone, episode 12. And this one will be titled America Against the World, Know Thy Enemy. Now, if you've been tuning into the Titans of Liberty show, then you know we cover a wide range of topics. But not too many shows back, probably about 4 or 5, we spoke about the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board which is a UN organism basically responsible for monitoring global preparedness with health emergencies. Now, we came across this document entitled A World at Risk, and I want to go over that briefly with you all, but connect it with other points regarding the CV-1984, or the China virus, as Trump calls it, and really what it means to be fighting against globalism. And we can see now that these things have been politicized on a global level on a very tyrannical stage, when we know the data that's coming out and the numbers that are being presented now, even by the CDC itself, don't add up to the initial onslaughts, and I try to give a little grace of saying, okay, well, if it's a global pandemic, then us as humans, we're compassionate beings. So we want to make sure that we not only take our own safeguards for ourselves and our families, but we want to make sure that the general public itself is safe too. You could see within the wearing of the mask, most individuals wear the mask because they don't want to harm somebody else. That's a very compassionate action, right? And then you have some of us that says, we do research and numbers just don't add up. That's neither here nor there. The reality of progressing with information, you must also modify. So with modifying the restrictions on more lockdown measures and very tyrannical mandates in the land of the free, then you could see that there's something else behind it. Whether you want to say they're politicizing a pandemic, or if this is truly Americanism versus globalism. So I don't want to be too long today with you guys, and I could get pretty deep into it. But we see this document from the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board, published in September 2019. Now, take a look right here. To the right, we got the corona. And then, I don't know, I'll let you guys point it out. What's going on here, right? So, moving forward, we'll read just a few excerpts. So, who sponsors this board? Who is behind this board? Well, we can see in right there, acknowledgments. We extend our deep appreciation and thanks to the Director General of the World Health Organization and to the President, I would assume, of the World Bank Group for having co-convened the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board. Really? Okay. So, like I said, I have these things posted in the description. I'll encourage you to download and read on your own. Because this goes in conjunction with your Event 201. It goes in conjunction with your Agenda 21, and also Lockstep from 2010 or 2012, your UN goals, your 2030, your Green New Deals. All of these things are tied in. And what I want to display later is the Build Back Better concept that was discovered by Jason Lowe, MAGA Titan of Titans of Liberty. And we've been doing some research regarding that and how that's also backed by Joe Biden's political campaign. And one of his slogans is Build Back Better. And you can see throughout the world, not just the United Nations using this banter or terminology or goal. Really, it's a goal. It's an operation. But it's everywhere. The UK is using it. We have Louisville, Kentucky mayor using it. Shucks, I could just name countless areas around the region. But we know that this is not just a global pandemic per se, but this is a UN operation being led and carried out by the Chinese Communist Party. I will go on record in saying that, but the Chinese Communist Party isn't what you think it is. And there's more historical research I've done relating that back to like the Opium Wars of 1839. First invasion of 1812. And when you really look into how these political parties came about, and when you look into President Harris, who was the shortest serving president, he served for 31 days, then died of like yellow fever, malaria. They really don't know the sources of why he died. But then the vice president, John Tyler, became the president, and he only lasted 4 years, but he's best known for signing treaties involving Britain and China. So when you really get into history, and this is about the 1842 area or 1838, doesn't matter, do your own research. We're continuing with this manual right here, so I won't keep you guys. But it says, Johns Hopkins University, Oxford and Chapman, Wellcome Trust, World Bank Group, World Health Organization. They're giving gratitude, but let's just jump down here and say we are very appreciative for the World Health Organization's hosting the GPMB Secretariat and making the work of the GPMB possible, with particular thanks and appreciation to Bernard Schweitzer, Michael Ryan, Peter Solomona, Jawad Majur, Roman Menhas, Aaron Kennedy, Gabrielle Stern. I don't know who they are. Probably want to find out, research, and why. Because this is the topic of Know Thy Enemy, America Against the World. So these are the no names with faces, or faces with no names that I wrote about, pinned up on my Twitter. We are at war. But it says, finally, we are grateful for the financial support provided to the GPMB Secretariat from the government of Germany, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Wellcome Trust, and Resolve to Save Lives. Who's Resolved to Save Lives? Look it up. I don't know. But this is an official publication, copywritten in 2019 by the World Health Organization, acting as the host organization for the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board. America Against the World. Americanism, not globalism. So we're going to fast forward into this. Remember the cover. These people have a plan. I'm not going to read everything, obviously. I have an extensive report for you today. This is your head chairman, or co-chairs, former Prime Minister of Norway and former World Health Organization Director General, Her Eminence or Her Excellency, Dr. Gro Harlem Brundtland, and Mr. Elijah Asai, co-chairman, Secretary General of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent. I'll let you guys go ahead and read that for yourself, but just look at these These people got plans for you and me, man. They got plans. So you look and connect these things. Like I say, the military games in Wuhan, China, took place in October of 2019. You have the Event 201 taking place in New York. I believe it was in September 2019.
It began in healthy-looking pigs, months, perhaps years ago. A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Gradually, farmers started getting sick. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. Experts agree, unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
The mission of the Pandemic Emergency Board is to provide recommendations to deal with the major global challenges arising in response to an unfolding pandemic. The board is comprised of highly experienced leaders from business, public health, and civil society.
We could be looking at double the number of cases in 1 week and 16 times as many in a month if we are not able to stop the spread. That would be on the order of 500,000 cases, and it would continue to rise exponentially. In 3 months, we could be approaching 10 million cases.
We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic. And there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together.
We have known about caps-like viruses in animals and people for decades, but have not been successful at developing a licensed vaccine. And sure, there are new technologies that may help, but it's going to be difficult. I am not optimistic about having a vaccine in time to be relevant during this pandemic.
So the policy crisis in question for this board in this meeting is this: how should governments, business, and international organizations allocate and distribute pandemic antivirals and medical supplies to the people who need them most?
What we've seen work very well in the HIV field is, in fact, procurement through the Global Fund. So having a centralized mechanism, so financially able to procure on behalf of affected countries would be critical. I think the second thing is it's going to be very important that for the business sector, for manufacturers of antivirals, that we have clarity around what the need is and where the need is and who are making the decisions.
I think that given that the countries most affected are those that are low and middle income countries with unequal access to technology, to finances, the UN has a worldwide footprint, universally recognized, and universal membership.
A global stockpile would certainly help ensure more rational and strategic allocation, but the reality is that we don't have the logistics capability, even within the UN, to bring that together in one place and run it. So this is where I think a collaboration between the international organizations like the World Health Organization and the private sector, which runs these supply chains for many purposes every day, understand where the supplies are, make smart decisions about how to allocate them to the people who need them in the places that need them the most, and then work with the industry to move those supplies from where they are today to where they need to be.
Just to underscore the point that cooperation among supply chain providers or businesses that have huge supply chains can add a lot of efficiency to the whole process.
The question is, can you, through this international mechanism, really promote commitments to doing this as quickly as possible and give people a sense that actually if they contribute more, that they will have a better chance of protecting their own populations and their country's security and health.
So to be completely clear, most of this production would already be committed in contracts.
Yes.
It is almost unheard of that people are producing product without having a forward commitment for the consumption of that product. So the first thing that needs to be done, because this is not something that the countries currently control, unless countries are going to bring about emergency situations and co-opt an existing supply chain.
I think it's not likely, I agree, that countries are not going to buy countermeasure to put into a global supply without retaining a large portion of it for themselves.
And you be like, oh, you're a conspiracy theory, till you start reading their own white papers and documents. That's where Alex Jones becomes ahead of his time, because it's like he's not really smart. I mean, he's smart, but when you tap into it and you take the time to read these documents, this is just one that I'm going to show you. This is one 48-pager. There's another 48-pager. But who's going to take the time to read these things? People that care about you. So let's see. 7 urgent actions to prepare the world for health emergencies. Heads of governments must commit and invest. Heads of government in every country must commit to preparedness by implementing their binding obligations under the International Health Regulations of 2015. They must prioritize and dedicate domestic resources and recurrent spending for preparedness as an integral part of national and global security, universal health coverage, and the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. There you go. So it says progress indicators by September 2020. Well, we're in September, so it's 1 year later. All countries that have completed an assessment of their capacities by July 1, 2019, have developed a costed national action plan for health security, identified required resources, and started to implement the plan. So just know this, they're about to kick it into overdrive on you. Hence why they're going into Australia, or the Australian authorities are snatching people out of their homes, snatching them out of their homes for trying to organize a protest. And even in one case, an individual saying, hey, that person has a right to protest, but it's best that we not go. The police broke in his door in Australia. So these people aren't playing, man. Countries and regional organizations must lead by example. G7, G20, and G77 member states and regional intergovernmental organizations must follow through on their political and funding commitments for preparedness and agree to routinely monitor progress during their annual meetings. So what I'm about to tell you is there's a lot of funding behind this. And I was introduced to the 40 Cities project by Tim Caller on the War Room today. And today is September 4th, 2020. Nevertheless, the 40 Cities project is also a UN directive, I guess, ran out and carried out by the Open Society Foundation, which is, as we know, George and Alexander Soros. And we know that a lot of the money works behind a lot of things that we see in this nation. Black Lives Matter, Antifa. But we're not even talking about, there's trillions behind this. So it says all countries must build strong systems. Heads of government must appoint a national high-level coordinator with authority and political accountability to lead whole of government and whole of society approaches and routinely conduct multi-sectorial simulation exercises to establish and maintain effective preparedness. They must prioritize community involvement in all preparedness efforts, building trust and engaging multiple stakeholders, legislators, representatives of the human and animal health, security and foreign affairs sector, the private sectors, local leaders, and women and youth. They ain't saying nothing about no fathers, but I mean, it gets into it. So we're going to skip down to page 42 real briefly so I can show you here in the United States, as it's known, who is our political accountability leader for whole of government, and whole of society approaches. Wait for it. Oh, there's the rest of the board members. Dr. Victor Diasu, the National Academy of Medicines, USA. I'm sure you guys seen him on TV. We have Dr. Chris Elias, President, Global Development Program, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, USA. Skipping down, we have Sir Jeremy Farrar, Director of the Wellcome Trust, United Kingdom. I told you guys, War of 1812, First Invasion. And who's this? Dr. Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease USA. Okay, now that's who's in charge of our wellness, head of government. Look at this guy right here. This is George Gao. He's the Director General for the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention for the Communist Chinese Party. Where's your numbers, bro? Where's your numbers? But we won't go there. And I just scroll down so you can see. We got the Minister for Foreign Trade, Development Corporations, Netherlands, Minister of Health, Republic of Rwanda, Her Excellency. I'm not going to go over it. Like I say, you can read over it. Minister of Health, Russian Federation. We got Switzerland in the house, Director of Global Health Center, Graduate Institute of International and Development Studies. And then we have Health Minister of Japan. So when you ask, would they politicize a pandemic? When you ask, how could everybody around the world move in lockstep? Well, I'm going to tell you what, man, your Health and Human Services is a very, very important governmental organization within all governments in each state and even here in the United States. And as you see around the world, and they pretty much have carte blanche authority over you. As you see, wear your mask. You know what I mean? It's real simple. We could continue in, but I got other things I want to show you. This is just the first 10 pages of this, man. Countries, donors, and multilateral institutions must be prepared for the worst. Remember, this is September 2019. Financing institutions must link preparedness with financial risk planning. Look at that. We got the IMF, the World Bank. You get into it. Let's see. Development assistance funders must create incentives and increase funding for preparedness. So why you can see why now all these governors and our politicians are so eager to shut things down. Why? Because this is a global takeover, man. They want your business. They don't want you in business. They're all in your business to shut it down. Why do we know this? The United Nations must strengthen coordination mechanisms. So what's this mean? The Secretary General of the United Nations with the World Health Organization and United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs must strengthen, coordinate in different countries' health and humanitarian emergency contexts by ensuring clear United Nations statewide roles and responsibilities, rapidly resetting preparedness and response strategies during health emergencies or global pandemic or CV 1984. I just added all that. And enhancing United Nations system leadership for preparedness, including through routine simulation exercises. World Health Organization should introduce an approach to mobilize the wider national, regional, and international community at earlier stages of an outbreak prior to a declaration of an international humanitarian public health emergency of international concern. So, sorry about that. As you see, let me do it one more time. World Health Organization should introduce an approach to mobilize the wider national, regional, and international community at earlier stages of an outbreak prior to a declaration of an IHR public health emergency of international concern. So our public health emergency of international concern was what? Say it all together now, class. 1, 2, 3. CV 1984. Exactly. Everybody's right. Why are you right? Because you're not an idiot and you think for yourself. This is a war, man. You're at the Informal Warfare channel, man. I'm trying to give you some strategies, some insights. We'll go here to 20 real quick. Persistent challenges and obstacles. And then I'm going to get into the rest of the documents that I have online for you. Persistent challenges and obstacles. I'm just going to read this first one. You guys can read it on your own. So what's it? Insufficient national and local leadership. Who's that? Trump. So preparedness is hampered by the lack of continued political will at all levels. Although national leaders respond to health crises when fear and panic grow strong enough, most countries do not devote the consistent energy, and resources needed to keep outbreaks from escalating into disasters. So that was, if you ask me, a clear threat. So you got Fauci in the background meeting with these international individuals. Come on, man, I'm just trying to tell you real quick. And he wants to come here and tell you that, hey, we need to shut down the businesses. We need to do this. No, we're on to you guys. We're on to you. We're so informed that I'm taking you right back down to January 26, 2009. Okay. This is UN News, right? Global Perspective, Human Stories. And I just typed in Obama, right? And we got articles from 2009 to 2015, but we just gonna go, we ain't even gonna click it on many of them. Just want to read you the headlines. So this is Susan Rice, right? The former ambassador to the United Nations. UN, a vital institution. New U.S. ambassador stresses after meeting with Ban. So that's Ban Ki-moon. And I want to say that, I don't know, man, is he now the president of South Korea? Hold on, man. Hold on. That just dawned on me. Sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a jag. It's not really a jag, but hold on. You're with me. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay, Jae-in-moon. I was just making sure. Just had to make sure before I could continue. Different people. Anyway, Ban and Obama to meet next week in Washington. This is the 6th, 2009. Ban, President Obama, Ban Moon. President Obama discussed boosting U.S. UN cooperation. I would encourage you to go here and read this. President Obama's message to Islamic world draws praise from UN chief. I bet it did. We have U.S. President Barack Obama honors UN staff who have fallen in action. Now, I want you to recall those days and remember when he said that he did not want the fallen soldiers that was coming back home to have the American flag on their caskets. Our fallen heroes. He did not want the American flag on the caskets, but I didn't even know this. September 23rd, 2009. He honors UN staff who have fallen. Ain't nothing wrong with honoring the fallen, but come on, man. Cuba tells Assembly that the U.S. administration must translate words into action. Okay, that has nothing to do with that. October 9, but getting back to the point, this is what we're about to read. U.S. President and UN Chief discuss wide range of international issues. That's September 23rd, 2010. We're going to click on the article from August 4th, 2015. Keep in mind, this is after Trump announced that he was going to run for president, if I'm not mistaken. It was like June 25th or something. And let's just read these. A few excerpts. Mr. Ban called the meeting between the two leaders extremely constructive, while noting it comes ahead of what is expected to be a historic General Assembly in September and follows a series of recent, quote, diplomatic achievements by Mr. Obama and the United States government, such as the Iranian nuclear deal and the normalization of diplomatic relations with communist Cuba. See, he's a communist, man. Just trying to tell you guys. All of these are truly historic diplomatic achievements, the Secretary General said. All I'm trying to do here with you guys is establish a clear relationship between the UN and our former administration and the Build Back Better global initiative that most people aren't woke up to. And we'll just read these right here. We'll say, go cut down to the bottom. Quote, I think this clean power plan powers economies and generates jobs, said Mr. Ban, adding that it can also generate huge dividends in the U.S. economy as well as impact other countries. The two men also discussed how to mobilize $100 billion for climate financing. Yeah, thank God we got out the TPP. I ain't got no partners in the Pacific, man, and trans not my business. You feel me? Got no partners in the Pacific and trans ain't my business. So, moving forward, I know you guys are like, what's that guy doing anything? Boom. Build Back Better. I have this in the link too. UN initiative. Y'all don't believe me? Well, there it is right there. United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. So this is in 2017, consultative version, meaning they plan this stuff out. You know what I mean? And once again, I encourage you to read it for yourself. To develop an all-stakeholder national level disaster recovery framework. See, they're stakeholders. You're not. You are subject, sir, madam. And let's get into some of their initiatives. Excuse the fast track. Let me see. There are some other points. Yeah. But the point I wanted to make. Let's see. Terminology. Build Back Better. The use of the recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction phases. Let's start again. Build Back Better. Terminology. The use of the recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction phases after a disaster to increase the resilience of nations and communities through integrating disaster risk reduction measures into the restoration of physical infrastructure and societal systems and into the revitalization of livelihoods, economies, and the environment. Okay. United Nations General Assembly. Reconstruction, recovery framework, rehabilitation. So they have their points of what it means to have the Build Back Better. So let's say reconstruction, the medium and long-term rebuilding of sustainable restoration of resilient critical infrastructures, services, housing, facilities, and livelihoods required for the full functioning of a community or a society affected by a disaster, aligning with the principles of sustainable development and, quote, build back better, end quote, to avoid or reduce future disaster risk. United Nations General Assembly 2016. So I want to bring this point up. Oh my goodness. It just came to me. Oh man. You got to remember, this is coming to you from the United Nations, man. In order to build anything back better, you have to tear down something that it was, man. And I mean, I want to insert this. When they say disaster in 2017, just understand, say it with me, class. What is that? CV 1984, right? So whether it's global preparedness, whether it's build back better, whether it's event 201, Coronas, Modelo's, Heineken's, it's all the same. It's all the same, man. Communism is communism no matter the flavor, B. Straight up. So recovery, the restoring or improvement of livelihoods and health, as well as economic, physical, social, cultural, and environmental assets, systems, and activities of disaster-affected community or society, aligning with the principles of sustainable development, there it is, and, quote, say it with me, build back better to avoid or reduce future disaster risks. Like, did I just read that? Yeah, pretty much, B. It's all the same. It's tyranny. Put your mask on. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not going to redress the government. Why? Because it's a United Nations takeover led by the Communist Chinese Party, where I hear they're training over a million men. Okay. And when you see these tyrannical actions taken by the police force, just remember who trained them. I got research where I show you guys that police forces all around the world accepted Chinese Communism Party police training. And now you see the carrying out of such lessons. That's all I could say. So recovery framework. Now this word gets lengthy. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can see FEMA right there just pop out right at you. Boom. FEMA. Okay, so they plan on using FEMA. But let's get to the point. Recovery framework establishes a common platform for the whole community to build, sustain, and coordinate delivery of recovery capabilities. describes principles, processes, and capabilities essential to more effectively manage and enable recovery following an incident of any size or scale, defines how emergency managers, community development professionals, recovery practitioners, government agencies, private sector professionals, non-governmental organizational leaders, and the public can collaborate and coordinate to more effectively utilize existing resources to promote resilience and support the recovery of those affected by an incident, i.e. like the United States. Oh yeah, so that's who FEMA's saying this. Okay, so we're going to get into the meat of it. This is where it all came about, was the Future Possibilities report from 2020. Mr. Jason Lowe sent this to me, and I was like, what, Build Back Better, man, you're on to something. Notice we just had a deal with the UAE and Israel, remember? And so this guy right here, His Excellency, His Eminency Mohammed Al Gurgawi, or whatever, writes this whole thing about, the future possibilities. Now, this one's lengthy, man, and when you get into it, you got to ask yourself, who's this? H.E. Fabrizio Hochschild. Well, he's the Undersecretary General and Special Advisor to the Secretary General for commemoration of the United Nations 75th anniversary. And I want to believe that he uses the Build Back Better term. Nevertheless, you could read over this as well. It'll be posted in the descriptions. But what are the possibilities of tomorrow, and how can countries leverage them to reset the great global reset their economies? Okay, period. Let's just go back to the first line. What are the possibilities of tomorrow, and how can countries leverage them to reset their economies in the post-COVID world? ? The Future Possibilities 2020 report sets out to answer that question by identifying 6 transformational trends that are creating possibilities and the factors that explain a country's capacity, and that explains a country's capacity to take advantage of those possibilities for the benefit of society. It gets too lengthy, man. I've read most of it. There's a lot of highlights I could take it to. All you got to do, like I say, this is a topic of America against the world, America at war. This is not a conspiracy theory. These people did politicize. Okay, they have politicized a pandemic. And it brings a tear to my eye ultimately, because these people are not playing. And my fellow brothers and sisters in America, regardless of your race, color, creed, religion, man, need to wake the hell up, because they're coming for you, man. They're coming for you. So go ahead and read through this. And so the exacerbate economy, hyper-connected devices, data, and people, as computing power and storage becomes cheaper and more efficient, and 5G technology is rolled out, future rises in connectivity will be driven more by devices than people. The resulting flow of data will further improve the capacity of AI-based systems to optimize processes and services and disrupt business models across a range of sectors. The exabyte economy could deliver possibilities with an estimated total economic value of $8 trillion by 2015. So in order to accomplish this goal right here, let me see, this goal right here, doesn't matter, won't let me do it. Yeah, we got to close down all your businesses. All your mom and pops aren't welcome in the new world order. Just know that. So I would hope, we could go here. What's that? I'm going to type in Build Back Better. Okay, boom. Conclusion. Number 4. As UN Secretary General Guterres said, the COVID-19 crisis is an opportunity to build back better. Okay. Yet resetting the economy, yet resetting the economic system in a way that it is more attuned to the needs of people and the planet will require a focus on opportunities. So our president says Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. Okay, we are at war. They're saying we don't care who's president of the United States because in their minds, in their goals and agenda, it is death to America. And you're saying, well, what's that got to do with Obama? What's that got to do with Biden? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Build Back Better, Joe. JoeBiden.com. Okay? Now, stick with me. I hope you're still there. Build Back Better. Joe Biden's jobs and economic recovery plan for working families. Well, where the heck did I just hear jobs and opportunities and all that stuff? Oh, over here. The future possibilities. Economic reset. So let's go back here. I want you to see it for yourself. Economic recovery plan for working families. Economic system in a way that is more attuned to the needs of people and planet will require a focus on opportunities. Maybe like the opportunity for Joe Biden to be the UN president, because this is a battle for the soul of the nation. Whose nation? The United Nations? Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Trump said we're about to defund the WHO. We know what's up, UN. So it's hashtag we know who. You guys thought you was slick. And you didn't think the American people were smart enough to catch on because you done dumbed us down with the fluoride and water. You hit us with the opium and the fentanyl. You took all the fathers out of the house. You put them in your unnecessary endless wars. You put them in prison. You got them on drugs. You did whatever it took to try to get their kids. And now you're at the door saying you got CV 1984. We need your kids. You guys are sick, B. And it's done. And it's over. We got you. You got your ass. Anyway, sorry. Joe Biden believes to his core that there's no greater economic engine in the world than the hard work and ingenuity of the American people. You're damn right. And we got guns. And Joe Biden is on record of saying, well, your Second Amendment ain't going to do no good for an F-16.
In schools and a rational gun policy. Well, look, folks, I'm going to say something. Everybody has ideas about what to do about a rational gun policy. There is a Second Amendment, and you do have a right to bear arms, but not an unlimited right. No amendment is absolute. I own a 20-gauge shotgun. I own a 12-gauge shotgun. I'll answer your question in a minute, sir. I own a 20-gauge and a 10-gauge shotgun. I just skeet shoot. I don't even hunt. My sons are hunter. They bird hunt. You know, we protect, by the way, geese crossing the international boundary more than we do people. You can only have three shells in your shotgun if you're going goose hunting. Okay, but you can have 100 rounds in a magazine that you can buy today. So I'm the only person who's ever beat the NRA nationally. I beat them flat out twice. I'm the guy that got the Brady bill passed. That is the background check bill. I even had Democrats on the stage who voted against the Brady bill. It's wrong. The Constitution doesn't say anybody can own a weapon. It says only certain people can own weapons. If you are incapable of thinking, or you're mentally ill, you can't own a weapon. If you're a terrorist, you can't own a weapon. You shouldn't be able to own a weapon if you're an abuser, so on and so forth. There's never been a limit on that anybody could own a weapon, period. And by the way, those who say the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots, a great line. Well, guess what? The fact is, if you're going to take on the government, you need an F-15 with Hellfire missiles. There's no way an AK-47 is going to take care of you if you're going to take on, you're worried about the government coming down, knocking down your door. And so it's bizarre. We never said you could own any weapon at all from the beginning. You can't own a machine gun. You can't own a bazooka. You can't own an M1 tank. No matter how much money you have, you can limit the kind of weapons that are able to be owned. And so I think, and by the way, all the work I've done on this, including in our administration, I now have over 58% of the NRA members acknowledging you can't own an assault weapon. There's no need for it. You can't have a magazine that has more than 10 rounds in it. And I'll do it again, because here's what happens. Talk about moral depravity. These beautiful young kids that are here. I hope I'm not saying too much with them here.
He's damn right. You gonna bomb you? And these people want to bomb you, B. They want to bomb you. You know what I'm saying? Even before we go down here. Look at this, man. This guy's sick. I'm just gonna read this paragraph and call it a day. For the most part, I got some more things. The pandemic has also laid bare some unacceptable truths. Even before COVID-19, the Trump administration, CV 1984, the Trump administration was pursuing economic policies that rewarded wealth over work and corporations over working families. That's a lie. We had 160 million people employed, and Black and Latino Americans had the lowest unemployment on the record. So what's he saying here? He says too many families were struggling to make ends meet, and too many parents were worried about the economic future of their children. Under Obama and Biden, you're right, under you guys, we was worried. People were doing good last year, hand over fist money. So you're like, we can't do that. We got to shut down the economy, build it back better. Let's go. Let's see what it say. But that's just the start. Look at that, public health jobs corps. And Biden will immediately put people to work by enlisting them to help fight the pandemic, including through a public health jobs corps. Okay, no, stop. We're going to go back. What's one of the biggest obstacles? Political will at all levels. What these people want to do. Let's go back to page 8 for you. All countries must build strong system. Heads of government must appoint. They must be, So Joe Biden is saying we're all about this thing. Don't forget that, people. This ain't no choice for American president, man. This is a choice between America and United Nations. It's really real simple. So he's got the same talking points as all these other things with the Build Back Better. Let's say Build Back Better means an updated social contract. See, we have the Constitution. That's all we need to know right here. What they want to do. That's why they're trying to destroy the social contract as it is now. The hypocrisy of saying, oh, yeah, we have federal laws on the books where you can't have a hood or a mask on your face. Even during Halloween, you can't enter a store with a mask on your face. But now, because of these future possibilities of 2020 and the global preparedness that the United Nations and the World Health Organization and Dr. Fauci so geniusly saw in 2017 tells us that, no, we're not trying to really destroy the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, but wear your mask in violation of everything that we stand for because we are breaking your social contract. You need to wake up, America. You need to wake up. If you really think this is a vote about some, oh, I don't like this party, I don't like that party, let me tell you about 1812, man. That was the first invasion, okay? Just know that. Build Back Better means an updated social contract that threats Americans. What's it saying? Build Back Better means, had to calm down. Build Back Better means an updated social contract that treats American workers and working families as essential at all times, not just time of crisis. See how mind warping this thing is, man? When you really get into it, man, it's enough to, this guy can't even, look at his eye. Doesn't that look like a serpent eye? What's saying? Zoom in on that. And they're getting all of their global agenda done through this pandemic. Thank God for Trump saying, nah, man, Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. We could get into all of this, man. I need you guys to look this over at least. I don't expect you to read it all. We know a lot, but there's people in your family that don't know. They think this is about Republican, Democrat. Look at this, climate change and COVID-19. United Nations urges nations to recover better. Oh, you thought I was joking? April 20. 22nd. As the world begins planning for a post-pandemic recovery, the United Nations is calling on governments to seize the opportunity to build back better by creating more sustainable, resilient, and inclusive societies. Look, man, if y'all think I'm playing, I'm about done because My emotions are not allowing me to give the best presentation right now. But I want you guys to look these documents over, man. I'm gonna leave every link here that you see in the bottom, and there's just a couple more I want to show you. So this was recently, or last year, I should say, if I'm not mistaken, when this article came out. It doesn't matter. The point of what I'm trying to show you is the UN at 75. Now it's time to build back better. Okay, this is not a coincidence. What are we talking about? We're talking about, let's go here. What we got going on? You see it, H1N1, 1918. I mean, these people are sick, man. Oh, that was, so this is something that I learned too. And then, like I said, I'm about to get out of here. God bless you all, man. May God continue to keep and give you wisdom, enlightenment. For those that don't believe, I would encourage you to try it. It's good. It's definitely he is a rewarder for those that diligently seek him. So you see the build back better right there. And then we go back to this, and this is the charter. But this is what I learned. And once again, the Charter of the United Nations after 75 years, personal reflections. It was right here in this second verse, second paragraph. In 1945, as nations emerged from a second world war, in the span of 30 years, a fundamental choice had to be made by the states participating in the San Francisco Conference convened to adopt the Charter. They chose the rule of law to govern international relations. This was the only way to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. This choice was also a result of the evolution of human civilization. It came out of the realization that the old system, keep that in mind, that the old system that made war permissible to right wrongs was not only barbaric and brutal, but fundamentally unjust. So what they are telling you now, people, is that the old way of capitalism is no longer accepted, okay? And they have convened that not only is this a war, but after this war, they will build back better the perfect utopian communism based off the model of the Chinese Communist Party, which renders everyone a slave. And on that note, I'll give you a little treat, and I'll end with this video. I was gonna do it separately, but if I could get it to play.
Nation could actually be a significant.
Excuse me. Yeah, we get it to play. It's gonna roll out. It's gonna roll out about 10 minutes. So, God bless you all, and may you be blessed and be protected by the hand of God.
Today, but this is really exciting. Trump is doing exactly what we blew up a few months ago and said he should do. And I'm not saying he's listening to us. Maybe he's listening to the same angel that God sent, but he is definitely hitting on all cylinders right now. We'll tell you about it when we come back, and then John Rappaport takes over. But Mike Levin did a great job breaking things down. This is next segment. You'll want to stay with us. But here's what Kanye.
And that's Mark Levin.
Kanye had to say about the real, and it's not about virtue signaling to black people. You know, I know they've trained a lot of black folks to be racist and mean to white people. A lot of white folks didn't do anything. And they get pissed and start hating black people. That's just like showing blacks, cops killing blacks, and they think all the whites want to kill them. It's all manipulation. But there's a larger plan. And if we just expose how blacks have been put on the globalist plantation as a beta test, like Australia's a beta test right now, it's game over. We come together, we'll still have problems, still have issues, but it's nothing compared to the post-human New World Order that doesn't want any people. Got that? Here's what Kanye had to say last night. It's big.
To the award show because it was a setup.
Right.
Now, okay, so now let's get to life. In 50 years, there's been 22 million, over 22,500,000 black people aborted strategically and on purpose. Planned Parenthood was set up and placed in minority communities to kill black people.
You're talking about when Margaret Sanger, the originator of Planned Parenthood at the time, because a lot of people, when you say things like that, in their defense, they say, well, Planned Parenthood today is a different organization. But here we go.
Yeah.
But what
Margaret
you cannot
Sanger
deny is these facts that Ye is about to give you right now.
Here we go. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, was an avowed racist whose goal was to reduce the black population in America, and she succeeded.
Facts.
80% of abortion clinics in America are in minority neighborhoods.
They think this
Over
guy crazy?
22,500,000 black babies have been aborted in 50 years. Over 1,000 black babies are aborted every day.
Daily.
So that means we are inside of it as we speak.
Genocide.
Genocide. So wait,
we are inside of genocide
so
as
people,
we speak.
what about the
Wake
people that are
up,
going to
America.
argue and say, but you know, Kanye doesn't have the right to speak on that because he's not
You
a
don't
woman.
have a right to be
The fact that Planned Parenthood does a lot of amazing things, and they're in those communities because they need to be in those communities.
Well, I have to go
Run
to
that
the
cover.
word. God says he knew you before you were in the womb.
Yep, Jeremiah 1:5.
The word of God.
So I got one other statistic. Abortion is the #1 killer of black lives in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Mm-hmm.
Abortion kills more black people than HIV, homicide, diabetes, accidents, cancer, and heart disease. Watch this one.
Combined. So Black Lives Matter, baby.
Then they pump in the vaccines, the fluoride that dumbs us all down. They give us gangster rap. They have us kill each other. And then they sit back and try to make us all kill each other again. It's real simple. This is a globalist takeover. The full video's on InfoWars.com and NewsWars.com. That's why this broadcast is so important. That's why funding of it is critical, because without your money, we're not going to be on air. InfoWarsStore.com. You want to talk about victory? I have told Trump, and obviously this is a common sense thing, it's the right thing to do anyways. Isn't it funny how the right thing to do is always the right thing to do anyways? New York's true nursing home death toll cloaked in secrecy. That's not an Infowars.com headline. That's
Cuomo
AP.
killed grandma. Cuomo killed grandma. Cuomo killed grandma.
See, everybody was saying 44% of the deaths were in nursing homes. There was like 6,000 in New York. But we had a group that crunched the numbers 2 months ago. It was over 10,000. Just with numbers publicly available. The word is they probably wiped out 15,000 old people in New York alone and in 9 other states. And now they think it's 60% of the COVID deaths were old people. They sent people with flu and pneumonia into the nursing homes, told the families they couldn't be there so they could cover them up and kill them. So Letitia James, under orders of the governor, ordered nursing homes that said, we're not going to put sick people in a nursing home. That's a disaster. She said, I'll arrest you if you don't. So that criminal, Letitia James, and the criminal, Governor Cuomo, are in trouble. When the AP puts it out, they're in a lot of trouble. New York's true nursing home death toll cloaked in secrecy. And the same thing in Michigan and Pennsylvania and all over the place. These are some evil people. They knew, the doctors told them that you do this, it's a death sentence. Now, Mike Levin on his show on The Blaze laid it out, did a great job, and pointed out that months ago, we first reported this, Cuomo erased his executive order ordering all this and hopes you forget about it. And hopes all Letitia James attacks on the NRA and InfoWars make you forget that they're the real criminals. They're the ones that are mass murderers on record and ordered mass murder and deserve to be put in prison for the rest of their dirty, stinking lives. And now we're getting closer to real justice, and that's a beautiful thing.
I'm going to stop that. And I wanted to, I'll do that on a separate case. But at this point, I was thinking of the 40 Cities Initiative. There it is. 40 cities. Wow. Children's Fund. UK government is supporting this. Look at that. Germany government. What? Denmark? Man, dude. Novo Dort. Open Society Foundation. Climate Change Collaboration. Oh my. MasterCard, QLink. Oh my. United Cities and Local Governments. Oh wow. The World Bank. Oh, Clinton Foundation. Oh my God, we got these fools, man. We got these fools. We got them, dog. We got them. They politicized the pandemic. We got their asses, man. Oh, you guys, man. Oh, we know the names. We're gonna find them out. And even, hey, who are you, buddy? Dr. Aluane Bandinia? But it doesn't even matter, man. We know. We got you, man. We got you, and it's all connected. You guys had to uncloak. Oh man, look at that. Towards localization. Now, this is live, or well, live recording. And I got some research. To do. I'll get back with you guys, but like I said, I believe it was Tim on the War Room. Shout out Tim. Drop the C40 cities on them. Yeah, we got you guys, man. Got your ass. L'Oreal, Vidal Sassoon. Shout out Bishop Gators. We talking about the Sassoon family. Man, we got your asses. Rockefeller Brothers Fund. Bro, these are the funders. Those are funding this. Oh man, come on, Trump. What are you doing, dude? Like if Johnson & Johnson, major funders. A-Roop, don't even know what they are. Independent Professional Service Consortium that delivers innovative and sustainable solutions in a broad range of disciplines. Interesting. You know what I'm saying? We Clean Air Fund, Strategic Funders, Bloomberg, and they all just dropped out at the same time. Man, I'm telling you, it was running covered. They ran so many what do you call them, candidates, so that they could all meet together and really pass on notes for this plan. Jeez, man. Cities. Well, there you have it, guys. You could research on your own. This wasn't the graph that I saw. Featured cities: San Francisco, United States, United Kingdom, London, Ethiopia. Oh, look at that. Australia. Key cities, man. I'm telling you. China, Qingdao, Beijing, Guangzhou, Hong Kong, China. You guys see it right there. Hong Kong, China. These globalists ain't playing with you. You just thought this was. Now we could go down to, look at that, Wuhan. Like, man. So what? We're in Africa, right? So that's your African. Oh, and you could just look around the region of where these things. Cape Town, I saw. Bangkok, Thailand. Notice they ain't got Taiwan. That's when the real war kicks off. Berlin, Milan. What we got in Spain? Madrid. Yeah, man. We got them. Guadalajara, Curitiba, Buenos Aires. And we got you guys, man. Sorry that this one went longer than I wanted to, but yeah, North America, we got Austin, Boston, Chicago, Houston, LA, Miami, Montreal, New Orleans, New York, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Portland, San Fran, Seattle, Toronto, man, Vancouver, DC. All right. Well, like I said, now the real work comes. I got to put all these notes in, but God bless you. I'm going to probably cut that video short. So if it ends abruptly, you know why, but I had to throw this, yeah, man, Delan, China. See, that's over there, that region, like temporarily inactive. That's, what's going over there. in Pakistan. No, India. So we'll see. We will see.